I never knew nothing about human trafficking. I never knew that I was being exploited. I never knew. I didn't wake up and be like, oh, this is what's happening to me. It's something that I thought was normal.
80,000 reported missing people on any given day in the United States. At the same time, there are over 10,000 unidentified bodies. There is no national law requiring agencies to share this information, leaving many families in the dark about their loved one's fate.
Today, family and volunteers, they reported cadaver dogs detected a few locations where human remains might have been buried.
You could have a body that was on one side of a county line, and the next county could have had that individual reported as missing. And no one may have talked to each other.
And we just haven't forgotten, and we're not going to stop until we know what happened.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Gone Missing Pod on this mini episode. My name is Nicole Mancha Mercado, and I'm joined by the lovely Alyssa Gutierrez.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Oh my goodness, I am just sweating, and more sweating. This heat wave is just really getting to me.
I know, and you have like 15 layers of clothing that you have to wear. So I'm sure that does not help anything.
Not that many, but yes, I do have to be fully clothed at work for safety reasons.
Exactly. It's just like one of those things that I'm like, I am like in shorts and a t-shirt and I'm like, it's so hot. And then I think about you and I'm like, I am complaining about ye complains too much.
Complains too much. I love it. But yeah, for real, good. Remember that, because I kid you not, like at 6:05, my face is dripping.
Oh my God, I bet.
So unattractive. And I'm just like, dear Lord, what did I consume that must come out of my body right now? It's all water, to be perfectly, it's
I bet.
Water, Gatorade, electrolytes. But woohoo, my air conditioning was fixed. So at least I don't have to suffer at home.
I'm so glad, because that's like the most horrific thing. And we've definitely had that happen. Actually, the beginning of this year, we had issues with our air conditioning. And one day, like we changed the filter and thank God it started working after that. But the one day it was literally like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, well, it's set on 68 and it's 74 and it's climbing. That's not what it's supposed to do. And I think it ended up getting up to like 77. And then thank God the next day, I don't know what happened, but it kicked back on and it was totally fine. But I was real nervous there for a moment because I'm like, I cannot handle, like the dogs can't handle it. I can't handle it. We just are not good heat people. So not excited for it.
Is it an age thing? I don't remember being this way.
No, I've always kind of been this way. I've never really loved the heat to begin with. I don't like the heat or the drastic cold. So basically I am a spring and fall baby, like through and through, which does not bode well considering I live in the Midwest where we have all of the seasons, sometimes all in the same day. So
yes, that's so funny.
That's kind of the life we live. But I agree with you, but I am glad that I am appreciative of summer, appreciative of the longer days, more light, that kind of stuff, because I do miss is the long days.
I know. I try not to curse out the heat too much because when seasonal depression rolls around, I'm gonna be
for
like,
sure.
What the hell, Alyssa?
Absolutely. Well, Alyssa, speaking of you, you are the one who did the research for this week. So why don't we jump into your case for today?
Awesome. So today we are talking about Jerrica Lizette Laws. Again, this is another case that I really had to go back into the archives and be like, have we talked about this woman before?
It's so difficult.
Her face and the details. Jerrica was last seen in Park Forest, Illinois at 7 p.m. on August 17th in 2015. So, this is mine and Nicole's area. We don't live near Park Forest, but we're pretty familiar.
Yeah,
Park
we
Forest
know.
is not too far away from where we both live. So Jerrica went for a walk behind her home in the 200 block of Lee Street. According to her family, taking walks is something she did every single day. She liked to walk not only in her neighborhood of Park Forest, but also out in Madison, which is another kind of suburb. And here's where, I don't know, this is a short case, so details are sparse, but
Sure.
at some point, according to this report, she met up with an unidentified person. And my question is, how do you know? Who said this? What,
Right.
like, I think what frustrated me is, okay, great. Her family, shared that she likes to take walks and this is what she was doing. None of the articles say like her family said she was meeting up with a person, or she told her family she was meeting up with a friend. Like, how do we
Right.
know that she met
Well,
up with somebody, especially since they're unidentified?
and the weird thing is that like I was looking at some of this stuff for her case too, because I thought the same thing. I 100% thought we had covered this case before.
I am so
Um,
glad you double checked me, because I swear sometimes I feel like we're gonna open it up and you're gonna be like, hey, we've already done this
yes.
before.
So I thought we did, and I didn't see anything. But what was weird is that like it said that she also went to a Chipotle restaurant before with a friend, and that was totally normal, and everyone seemed to know about that. So I don't know then why she would be meeting with an unidentified person afterwards. Like, why wouldn't she just go with the friend that she was at Chipotle with for a walk? Like, who
I
is
mean,
she meeting up with?
it feels like there has to have been a different timeline, because if she went to Chipotle, then she would have probably had money with her to purchase
I
Chipotle.
don't know. I
But
mean, who knows? Because it
on this
says that
walk,
day. It says
on this walk, it says that she left behind her purse and her identification.
so maybe she got dropped off at home and dropped everything off and then went out. But again, like I just don't know why she wouldn't ask that friend that she was with, unless she was planning on meeting someone.
Or mention it at least. Oh yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna meet up with so and so.
I mean,
Or
we've done that before. Like if we're doing different things with different people and then you're like, literally last time I think I was over, you're like, oh yeah, one of your work friends was gonna like stop by and grab something. And it's like, I
Mhm.
wasn't gonna be there, but it's just like because you're just talking about what you're doing that day, as friends
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. These are all the details that we have of her movements that day.
Okay.
I'm not sure when she was even reported missing. She left at 7 p.m. How late did someone freak out? 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m.? No
Right.
idea. No information about what the police did, when they heard about it. All we know is that her family describes her as a homebody and a church goer. And this was kind of interesting. My personal, observation is, they stated she was never part of a bar or club scene. And in my head, why does that matter? So what if she was?
We know why it matters, right? We know exactly why it matters because the media, especially, and I will 100% call them out, the media, especially, really loves to demonize people, especially women and especially women of color. As you remember, because I'll never forget our first case, Melissa Ann Page, when they said she
Yep.
ran with interesting people or suspicious people or whatever. And it's like, but why should that matter? It's a missing person whose family misses her, loves her, and wants her home. So it's like, she's great that she's like a churchgoer and she does all those things. That's, that those are good things to know about her as a person.
Right.
But like, even if she went to bars or clubs, it doesn't make her less important to anybody who wants her to be there and wants her to be home.
Exactly. I don't know. I get really frustrated when, you already print very little information and that
Right.
is what you find valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism. Anyway, Jerrica also attended church in Kankakee, which I found pretty interesting because Kankakee, it's at least an hour south from Park
Yeah.
Forest. Even Madison is kind of out there. I don't believe she drove. She had to have someone to take her. She had also recently moved to Park Forest after living in Indiana for 2 years. Again, some questions there. She was 24 years old at the time she went missing. And Jerrica has an undiagnosed mental disability.
Okay.
I'm wondering, does that mean she was able to live alone? Did she live with family? Did she live in a type of community where you're
Right.
self-sufficient, but, a little dependent on maybe a certain organization? I don't know. Because if she lived alone, how did people know she went for a walk?
Yeah.
That made me think that she lived with family.
I agree. I think that would be my guess as well. I also wonder if it means that, like, just in general, that because of this undiagnosed disability, that would that impair her decision making if, say, she met someone online and made friends with somebody who she was supposed to meet? Because my thing is, when you say an unidentified person, that means people don't know who this person is.
Right.
So if the only way that I could see in such a small community that they wouldn't know is if she met this person elsewhere where other people weren't attending. If she's a homebody and a churchgoer, I would assume they know them, like this person from church or around the area.
Right. I don't know. I mean, when I see unidentified, I could also just imagine she didn't say who she was meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
Meeting somebody. But you're right. You know, in Park Forest, it really isn't a huge, it's not a big town. You know, it's a small community. It's a pretty quiet community. I don't know. I just feel like somebody would have noticed something. So Jerrica would be 30 years old now. And if you have any information, you can contact the Park Forest Police Department at 708-748-1309. And just a little tidbit, the way I discovered Jerrica's case, I was searching for news articles, and this past Mother's Day, so May of 2022, Jerrica's mom actually participated in a gathering with other families from Chicago with missing loved ones. And so what I like to see was that Kira Cole's family was there, who, we've covered. Is it Diamond or Dynam and King, who went missing in Indiana? We covered their case relatively early on our podcast, and quite a few. I mean, I think there were like four or five families covered in this article, but just, that they're still gathering. They've come together as a Chicago, community, because each of them have missing family members.
Yeah. Chicagoland community. That makes sense.
Exactly. So just, wanted to share that. I thought it was nice. And I'm really glad they did, because then we learned about Lizette's case.
Absolutely. And it looks like you can contact the Forest Park Police Department at 708-748-4701 or the FBI at 800-634-4097 if you have any information on Jerrica Lizette Laws' case. So thank you so much, Alyssa, for bringing up her case and talking more about Jerrica.
Thank you, Nicole, for sticking it out with me. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think it's allergy season for Alyssa here. So I apologize in advance for the sniffling and coughing.
Coco's got a lot of things to say in the background too today.
Yeah, the dogs are just itching to get out.
I agree. I get it. But I'm glad you were able to join us, because I know when you have allergies, you don't feel the best. So I appreciate it. And I'm sure our listeners appreciate it too. We want to say thank you to the Mercado Airwaves Network for hosting us each and every week, as well as our wonderful editor and producer, Mike Mercado. We also want to thank you guys, our community. You are amazing. We are so appreciative of you coming and checking in with us each and every week. And I want to thank you, Alyssa, for being just fabulous. And I love you and appreciate you so very much.
Why, thank you, friend. You're the best.
And lastly, if you want to follow us, you can go to Instagram or Twitter at The Gone Missing Pod, or on Facebook at The Gone Missing Podcast. You can also become a patron and follow us on patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves Network and find The Gone Missing Pod. Thank you guys so much, and we will check back in with you next week.